Doing well, Commander. This is your last briefing for all political powers currently in play. All we have left to cover are those that control independent areas of settled space and those under Alliance rule. These groups are as diverse in their beliefs and operations as the systems they control. As it stands currently, there are three standout personalities for the independents: Yong-rui, Archon Delane, and Prenavantal. While not technically an independent power, we will include Alliance factional personality of Memoocan, because realistically, they maintain no unified force, and as a collection of independent systems themselves, they qualify for this briefing. So, as the first among equals, Memoocan stands as Prime Minister to the entire Alliance and wields considerable diplomatic influence from his headquarters in Gateway. He's a man that follows the ideals of self-governance and free trade, while still honoring interstellar treaties. The Prime Minister uses these treaties and trade agreements to leverage and prepare systems while then creating alliance connections through diplomatic missions and legislation. All of this leads to solidifying his presence by establishing stronger trade protections and governmental ties and systems to block other parties' ability to gain a foothold. This proves strong against corporate governments but weak against communist, cooperative, feudal, and patronage governments. Giving your pledge will in turn reward you in the form of vouchers for 5% of profits gained from trade, capping at 20% if he holds top factional standing. At rating 3, he gives access to the Retribution, a small beam laser that causes enhanced heat damage, but only after 4 weeks in his service. Rating 5 gives 50% increase on rare goods profits in controlled and exploited systems, while all weekly bonuses, preparation nominations, and commodity allocations are identical to every other power. His powers come with a number of benefits within his area of influence for each kind of systems that he controls or exploits. Now we'll move on to the remaining independent powers. Based out of his headquarters in Limbava, Yong-rui holds his power as CEO of the Sirius Corporation, standing at the forefront of exploring and exploiting the riches of space, as well as being the first corporation that assumed ownership of an entire system in 1,000 years. Predictably, Yong-rui utilizes his connections to socially engineer support through a flood of discounts and media that urges the population to spend. He then makes his money work for him by buying up swaths of industries in all sectors, solidifying control of a system. His rule is maintained by distributing resources and technology to those under his control. Interestingly enough, this makes his approach effective against corporate governments, but weak against communist, cooperative, feudal, and patronage governments. The discounts he favors so heavily benefit those who pledge to him as well. Ship insurance is reduced by 5% in his systems, capping at 20% with top galactic power standing. Achieving rating 3 will unlock the Packhound rack of medium seeker missiles, firing a salvo of drunk missiles, a weapon of questionable effectiveness as it has never been seen in action before. Beyond the 200% increase to exploration data sale at rating 5, all other aspects of pledging are identical to previous powers. Benefits in his systems, however, revolve primarily around prices of high-tech goods. This brings us to Archon Delane, also known as the Pirate King, who stands at the head of the Kumo crew from his headquarters in Harma. He came to power at the age of 15 by killing the previous leader and established his savage rule. Though the crew acts as militant nomads, they spread their iron rule under Delane through the Pegasi sector and pillage systems as they do so. Obviously enough, Delane prefers combative approaches to preparing and expanding into systems. First, he uses blackmail and bribery so that a system is forced into answering to the crew. He then instigates infighting and insurrection between criminal elements to force system powers to try cleaning up the system, and thus being unable to resist Delane. Ruling with an iron fist, control is maintained through fear and killing any opposition, as well as selling their families into slavery. This is strong against feudal and patronage governments, but weak against dictatorships. As would be fitting for a pirate king, Delane offers 20% reduction on bounties and fines, raising to 50% at top factional standing, as well as allowing his marauders access to the Cyto-Scrambler, a burst laser that is highly effective to shields but results in no hull damage, a pirate's dream come true. At top rating, the reduction in fines and bounties raises to a full 100%, giving criminal elements full reign without penalty. Benefits for Delane supporters in his systems revolve around the lowering of security levels and increased profit from black markets. although you may find his systems ban certain goods that one might think belong in a pirate king's domain. Last in line for our briefing is the utopian leader Pranav Antal. As the son of Simguru Rishi, Pranav has taken the reins in expanding the quasi-religious message of utopia to oppose traditional systems of governance, instead using network communes to promote peace and prosperity, as well as warning against unethical usage of technology. They do this through massive propaganda dissemination, promising a chance at a second life. This social engineering moves into expansion by recruiting utopian agitators to remove the rule of bureaucrats. But instead of controlling systems through further social management, Antal prefers covert means using enforcers that he states require extra purity, whatever that means. This form of leadership is strong against communist, cooperative, and confederacy governments, but weak to feudal, prison colony, and theocracy governments. Pranav gives his fanatics 5% increase in positive influence change within his systems, increasing to 20% at top factional standing. And despite all the rhetoric about peace and prosperity, it is very clear that Antal does not fear using force, which is evidenced by offering his followers access to the Enforcer Cannon, which has reduced fire rate but higher damage output when they reach rating 3. He also pays 100% on bounties when they reach rating 5, putting his opposition, as well as general criminals, in his crosshairs. Under his rule, system benefits are shown to be strict with increased fines and bounties, though it seems black market profits increase in turn. This concludes your briefing on all factional powers in our galaxy. Remember that you can refer back to the digital recordings we've made available should you need a refresher at any time. Choose wisely and fly dangerously, Commander.